now want to look at so much palpable tension in the air on what the 2025 economic year holds for Nigerians, particularly after weathering the topsy-turvy storms of 2024. What are the indicators saying as the presidency insists on its rosy pictures? So we discuss with Professor Sylvester Monye, former presidential aide on performance management and public policy analyst. He joins us on the show. Apologies, like I said, we will get back to discuss that particular topic. Glad to have you join us, Sylvester.
Thank you very much.
On the program, the state of the economy. What's in store for Nigerians who you and I know they're going through some excruciating pains. What's in store for Nigerians in 2025 economy? Will inflation ease, or will fuel costs continue to soar, bite as it were? Let's deal with that, and we'll look at the challenges. Which challenges do you see shaping the nation's future, and which sectors do you think will thrive?
Well, thank you for inviting me to discuss this critical issue of importance to the nation. It would have been wonderful for me to say that 2025 will be very rosy. But the depth of the mess that we have as a people, as a country, is such that it will take quite a bit of work to get us out of it. It is not possible to begin to get out of this situation based on what I see on ground, either the budget or the plan. There's a starting point I want to deploy. And that starting point is the issue of where we are going. You know, when you have a situation, the first thing you do is draw up a roadmap that says, this is where we are going.
This is where we are.
This is where we are, and this is where we are going. And then in between, you say, this is how we will get there. You know, if you were traveling on an aircraft, before the pilot takes off, the pilot will map out the route map, temperature, altitude, everything, and tell you this is when we will arrive at our destination. It is common sense. I don't see a plan as at today. As much as fantastic work is being done in silos by some ministers, there is nothing bringing them together. There is no overarching strategy that says, if we do A, B, C, D, it will lead us to this destination. For example, if you look at the performance of the ministers, I'm not here to do the assessment because that's a different subject altogether. But if I was to assess the performance of the ministers, you will see that there are three categories of ministers. The first category has one person, and that's Nyesom Wike. He is on his own. He is arguably the best minister in this administration. He has done and continues to do magic. And that's what I can call.
What makes him the best?
Because
and what's his magic?
Now let me tell you.
He is constructing roads for the people. Magic.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I'm here to tell you what I see based on parameters.
Okay.
You have a master plan for Abuja. That is the indicators we are talking about.
Yeah.
You have a master plan for Abuja that was laid down for over 40 years. And he has come in and he has jumped on the assignment and he is delivering, doing those things that have been abandoned.
Okay.
Now, he didn't do the master plan. He is simply implementing the master plan.
Yeah.
And he's implementing it beautifully. That's my own assessment.
Okay.
The second category of ministers, I have two ministers in this second category.
Okay.
And that's the Minister of Interior.
Ojo
and Festus Kayamo.
Aviation.
Aviation. These two ministers are doing what I call amazing job. I will talk about Interior. Interior has demonstrated that he had ideas. He came, he set targets, and he's gone about delivering on those targets. Now, the effectiveness of those delivery is another matter. He's been sabotaged by the system, because when he says visa takes 24 hours or 2 days, it's not true on ground. It's not true. But that is the intention, and that is the plan he has, and that is the promise he's been given by his own bureaucracy.
Isn't that much of what Nigerians really experience? So much talk and less to show for it.
Well, that is where...
And that's where you have the trust deficit problem.
There's trust deficit problem, but I tell you something, where you have a master plan that says every week this is what we do, then everybody is held accountable, because there's something to hold.
Yeah.
There's something to hold. But right now, he is the expert. He knows what he wants. He's the driver. He knows where he's going. But the people around him don't know where he's going.
But you put them there.
Oh, no, he didn't put the public servant. He didn't
Oh,
put
you mean
the
public servants.
technocrats.
Okay.
He didn't put them. But so they don't know where he's going. They say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So they are following him.
But also, it is his responsibility to communicate where he's going in such a manner that the people can buy in. I mean, somebody said, write a vision, make it plain, so everybody will run along with you.
You just said it. Write a vision.
Make it plain.
Make it plain. They have not. That is the plan I'm talking about. I'm not here to defend the APC. They have not written a plan. I challenge you, show me a medium-term plan by this administration. You have removed subsidy. Why did you remove subsidy? You have not told Nigerians why. You've said, oh, it's losses, corruption. Yeah, I agreed. So, what? Having removed the subsidy, what are you going to do with the proceeds of the subsidy? That is the question people are asking. You need to say to the Nigerians, we have removed subsidy. We are going to raise 30 trillion. This is what we are going to do with the 30 trillion. And at the end of this investment, expect this. Hold us accountable for these deliverables. But that is not done. I don't know of any minister that can tell you. Every minister, by the way, has their own policy trajectory, where they're going. They know what they're doing. They're brilliant guys. They know what they're... But there's no common thread. I was Executive Secretary of National Planning for 5 years. Yeah, so if you don't have a plan, how do you monitor?
Okay, before I ask you that, as we speak, inflation in Nigeria has risen to 38.6%, if it's not above that by now, because that was last year. This is a new year.
Right.
Expendable income in the hands of Nigerians are being eroded, but the president says it's going to bring this inflation down to 15%. That's about more than double figures down.
By about half.
About half. And then the exchange rate to 1.5.
Yeah, from about 1.6.
The minister said it's a good day. Isn't that working towards something great? 38.6 to 15%?
Yes.
You think they can't achieve that?
Yes. But show me the work plan. It's not talk. It is, show me a document that says, in doing this inflation, agriculture is going to generate 30%. Industry is going to generate 20%. Film industry is going to generate 10%. And these are what you call the growth drivers. These are the things that will drive what we are talking about. Can I ask you, we are going to reduce inflation and all that nice things you've just said. What are the drivers? What are the things that will drive those things that you're talking about?
Well, he's talked about agriculture. He says I've forgotten his phrase, but he says he's concentrating on agriculture. Though the question being asked is, what are you doing about this security? Because not negotiable, that's it. He said food security, not negotiable, But the question being asked, though, is farmers are not able to go to the farm because of insecurity. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to achieve this?
Precisely. You see, I'm trying to be careful the words I use. You can say anything you want to say. I believe there are good intentions in the system. I believe so.
Is that enough?
That is the question. Intentions are good, but not enough. The reason why they are not enough is implementation. I'll tell you my concerns. We have a large youth unemployment in this country. It is time bomb. We need to have a deliberate plan that looks at the youth and say, our economy will depend on this youth going forward.
I had the Minister of State here for Youth Development. He talked about a confab, the confab that is coming, that the president has promised to within this first quarter. You know, you don't think that is working towards reducing youth employment and making the youth inclusive?
Yes.
Because like you said, it's a time
Yes,
bomb.
if you have the youths come up with their own agenda and you mainstream the agenda into the medium-term plan to say, the youth say this is what they want, they are going to do this. Now our plan is that Minister of Science and Technology will do this one will do that. Everybody will work towards that plan. Then in 3 years' time, we'll review it to say, have we delivered on this? But I am saying to you, every ministry has good plan, good intention, but I have not seen a plan. Is it too difficult to understand?
Maybe you should help us with a plan. Or maybe help us with understanding what plan you're talking about. Maybe draft a plan in this short, brief moment. It could help.
I should draft a plan.
Maybe a, how do you say it? Not a bogus one,
Yeah.
but, you know, maybe the high points of the plan, not the broken down.
You see, a
the
plan
body.
is a detailed statement of activities.
That's why I said not the whole
It's
detail.
a detailed statement of activities that are designed to give you a particular result.
Get to a particular destination.
Over a period of time. That is a plan. Now, you can't write a plan for me. I can write a plan for you. Everybody comes together and say, this is what I want to do. This is what everybody comes. And then
You think that the budget, the way it is not that
the budget
plan?
is not based on a plan. Do you have a plan? From 1999 to date, to the best of my knowledge, this is the only administration that hasn't got a medium-term plan. Even Buhari has his plan, or had his plan. Jonathan had his plan. Yar'Adua had plan. You know of needs and seats and all that. They were plans. But I know that there's what they call renewed agenda. That was a policy campaign. Renewed hope agenda. That is a policy campaign document. It's a policy agenda, which ought to have been broken down and translated into a workable plan that you say, okay, works. Let me give you as an example, works. Works minister is, I can say, working very hard, but running from pillar to post, doing what? How do you assess the performance of Minister of Works today? How many Nigerians will say that man that will have Minister of Works? As much as you know, he's in Sokoto to Badagry, Lagos.
Okay, you mean Umahi?
Umahi, Badagry to Calabar. Yes, nice. Have you seen it? That is one. Two, how do they fit into...
The Badagry too is there for all to see.
Wait, okay. No, not Lagos to Badagry. I'm talking about Badagry to Sokoto.
Okay.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that a plan works. Is supposed to key into agriculture, road construction, access to farm. You know, these things work together. You don't do road for nothing. You do road for something. Road is supposed to tie into agriculture. Road is supposed to be an infrastructure tied to industry, evacuation of goods from factories. All those things are tied together because you have an agenda to produce food. You have an agenda to produce manufactured goods. You have an agenda for export. All these are tied, and you know that your infrastructure or your vehicle is the road. Now, you are doing road that is not connected to any of your nice agenda. How does that deliver? You are doing agriculture. Who are those working in agriculture? It's a whole value chain. From production, processing, distribution. What is it? Who are those in the value chain? Agriculture is not just farm. If you do farming and it doesn't get to the table, you wasted your time.
Now, the president says he's promising a $1 trillion economy with a budget deficit of 13 trillion and debt servicing of 15.8 trillion. Feasible?
Anything is possible if you work for it, if you plan for it. Anything is possible. What is the plan? You remember Vision 2020? You remember Vision 2010?
We're still on the vision.
So you can plan. If you don't implement, you will not deliver. This is as simple as that. You have to have one, a plan, a roadmap. 2, implementation. 3, monitoring and evaluation. 4, review. In case you are out of line, you kick yourself back in.
No, but the president had Hamza Usman, who was supposed to, that was probably why some ministers were let relieved from their jobs, who was supposed to evaluate the performances of the ministers. I'm wondering, if there was no plan of what they were supposed to be doing, would that evaluation have been successful?
Plan is a public document. It's not a secret document.
Oh, okay. So what you're driving at...
Have you ever seen one?
Okay. What you're driving at is that, because one could say that they have a plan, but your angst is, where is the plan?
No. I know authoritatively there is no plan.
No, but what you just said now is that, have I seen it? Which means he may be there, but he has not been.
I said it rhetorically.
Rhetorically.
Yeah, okay. There is no document called Asiwaju Bola Tinubu medium-term plan that will run from 2023 to 2027 or 2025 to 2027. There is no plan, document that you say. You are asking me a question. I would have been happier if you were reading out of the plan to say, this is what the plan says. Then you and I will say, is it feasible? For example, when you say you are going to have...
I talked about the 1 trillion naira.
Yeah, so let's take a practical one that says that is in the budget, that next year you are going to have 2.3 million naira, million barrels of crude.
That's the benchmark.
That's the benchmark.
Yeah.
How? In the last 5 years, what have you performed? What is the performance?
But mind you, the NNPC said we've achieved 1.8.
NNPC?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it said.
Is that too far?
No, well, it's not about imaginary target. It's about what they have delivered. NNPC, I don't know whether you are aware, has been telling Nigerians...
NNPCL, by the way, yeah.
Okay, they have been saying that they have not been able to make money because of subsidy. The subsidy was removed. In the last 6 months, they have not remitted 1 dime to the Federation account. 1 dime. So where is that 1.8 million?
Is the economy going to grow that way? Shouldn't somebody be held responsible and accountable? Yeah, I'm asking you. That's why I'm not going to answer the question.
No. So, in the last 6 months, NNPC has not remitted a dime to the Federation account. So we have been enjoying the proceeds of the subsidy removal. But the NNPC itself, what are they doing? And nobody's asking a question.
That's strange.
Very strange. Very strange. So the objective of removing the subsidy was not to make up for NNPC. But now...
It was to channel the funds to a deliverable.
Absolutely.
What people can see.
Absolutely.
And again, that's where the trust deficit comes in.
Yep. That is why the states, the subnational governments, don't trust the federal government. Because they don't know what is going on. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what is going on.
Now, still discussing the economy, it says tax reform will benefit the industrial sector. I had the Minister of State for Industry here, John Ewane, the other day. What's your sense of that? I mean, this tax reform has encountered so many breakbacks. It's still encountering so many. We'll get to that. But when it says tax reform, actually that was Ewane not talking, will benefit the industrial sector, which of course would improve the economy. What's your sense of that?
The tax reform is good. Very good for, not just for the industry, but for the country as a whole. I mean, we haven't had any reform in our taxation system in more than 50 years. So this is the first major tax reform that is that has been put together. I'm told by tax lawyers and tax experts that it's actually quite good for the country. However, in during the tax reform,
if it's quite good for the country,
yeah,
why are 19 state governors? That's a whole lot.
You see,
against it or have something against the tax reforms.
If you speak to individual governors, they will tell you that they have no problem with the tax reform, but they have problem with elements of the tax reform, such as the VAT. And not just the VAT, but the derivation component of the VAT.
Where the funds will be paid, who
exactly
takes what.
So you see, there are components, elements of this. What they are also saying is that, look, we need to discuss this thing and see how we can
not throw away the baby
with the bathwater and accommodate one another. The intentions are good for the tax reform, but don't also destroy our fragile
and that's why
state
Sylvester,
economies.
When I discussed this tax reform issue, even the National Assembly, the president, talked about 6 months public hearing and deliberations, and then you wonder, shouldn't there have been consultations? In fact, the talk was that the NEC did advise the president.
Of course, it's correct.
And let's look at it. But the president apparently said no.
I don't know why, but you see, the element, the essence of democracy.
And that's why you're still having this.
No, the essence of democracy is what Nigerians, our parlance, call being carried along.
Yeah, buying.
Buy-in. Now, once I read a piece this morning by the governor of Nasarawa State, who said, I was opposed to the tax reform, but now I am moving towards accepting it because we're having conversation. Our fears are being allayed. That is what it's all about. It is being carried along. So
we're having conversation.
We're having conversation.
But the thing, Sylvester, is why didn't this conversation go on before?
Am I part of the government? You're asking me? This is the problem with the implementation we are talking about. If you had a plan, you see, you can't go wrong with a plan. You will go wrong without a plan, regardless of your.
You can go wrong with a plan too. Implementation.
You can go. Yeah, that is the point. If you have implementation, plan, and you don't implement it properly,
you go wrong.
You go wrong. That is why, as you are implementing, you are monitoring and reviewing. Because that's part of the planning process. You are reviewing to say, okay, we thought oil price would be 75. Now it's 73. So let's adjust. You adjust. So it's not a static document that says, we've done it and that's it. Similarly, this tax review or reform cannot be fixed. It should be flexible, open for discussion, analysis, and, if you like, carrying people along.
Thank you so much for being here, Sylvester, Prof. Sylvester. It's good discussing the economy and the tax conundrum with you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.